the time we came to make Sgt. Pepper, we were getting a lot more freedom, artistic freedom. So we started to incorporate more of the kind of crazy life that we were living at the time into the music.
Sitting in gardens looking at trees for years and years. That year did take about 50 years to complete.
20 years ago, a social, sexual, and musical revolution engulfed millions of young people all over the world. History knows 1967 as the summer of love. Flower power.
Plug your ears! What's up for your ears?
Bizarre clothes. And the hippie trail. At the heart of the whole thing were the Beatles, with their 8th album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which was being taken seriously in some unlikely quarters.
It seemed to encapsulate the spirit of 1967, flower power period and all that. And it's still, when you hear it again now, it conjures up a period which is now gone, of course. And that's actually what music is about, isn't it? You want a piece of music to encapsulate the period it was written in. And Sgt. Pepper does seem to do that.
It was 20 years ago today, record buyers laid hands on this album for the first time. Discovered lyrics printed on the back cover for the first time. And when they opened it out, found the Beatles inviting all and sundry to join the fun.
There are 2 events outside of my inner family circle that I remember in life, and one was Kennedy's assassination, John Kennedy, and the other was where I was when I first heard Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Everywhere I drove, I could hear one of the songs from Sgt. Pepper's albums played out of somebody's window of a passing car or an apartment that we were passing. It was like a mass tune-in.
I think that period felt special because there was a great upsurge of energy and consciousness. And because there was so much attention given to not just the Beatles, but to everything that was taking place, all the changes that were happening with fashion and with filmmakers and poets and painters and the whole thing. It was like a sort of mini renaissance. And so there was a lot of excitement on the street. There was a lot of people who were all trying to go on the same trip together, regardless of what they were doing. And I think there was a bond formed between a lot of people.
Well, when my granddaughter came to me and asked me to cross her dress, I was very pleased. And I started to do it. And when she told me the length, I thought, my God, she's going to get in trouble with this. And after I'd finished it, well, I thought it was very nice. But for the length.
But the height of the American Empire, where we had, for all intents and purposes, all the bombs, all the cops in the world, it was all ours. We had the 2 Cadillacs, the 2-car garages, the split-level ranch houses. We were #1, and there was no competition. At that particular moment, pushing that lifestyle of the status seekers, of the upward mobility, of what today are called yuppies. Style conscious, anxious, desperate to always be at the head of fashion. Well, enough people looked at that and said, you know, they threw up. They said, this is boring, this is spiritually unrewarding, it's unjust for all the other people that can't participate in, and yeah, we don't want any of it. There must be something else. If there isn't anything else, we'll take death. Death's better than this vision. So, slowly, people started to question authority, to be outraged about racism, to pay attention to other things.
People are stuck in their own generations. Like, my grandfather was a great guy, but he was stuck in 1920. He was stuck there, and the last time I saw him alive, I had a beard, and he was hysterical about it, and he kept harassing me about it, and I didn't want to stay there, so I left.
This nonsense really began when Bob Dylan gave marijuana to the Beatles, and the Beatles' music changed, there's no doubt, and then they took LSD, and the music changed some more, and it sent signals to the people of San Francisco who were very admiring of the Byrds. You know, the Byrds took the best of the Beatles, the best of Dylan, and synthesized it.
And then we sort of developed our own style as things went on. And when we started doing Dylan songs, we took that kind of music to another level of intellectual music that the Beatles hadn't really tried yet. When they heard that, I think it influenced them, and we became friends, and they would send their tapes to us, and we'd send ours to them, and we were transmitting messages across the Atlantic via records, which was really a lot of fun.
It was really a question of everyone admiring Dylan. And we felt kind of honored that he admired us. We'd go to see him as the big guru.
Do you think of yourself primarily as a singer or as a poet?
Well, I think of myself more as a song and dance man, you know.
That was it, really. You'd find the Byrds would do Tambourine Man, and a lot of his other tunes, too. And they'd add that jangly thing to it. And then we'd pick up the jangly thing off them and put that in.
The Beatles played their last ever concert to a paying audience in August 1966 and took some time off. As 1966 drew to a close, the press began a round of speculation. Fans were worried.
Well, I think they might split up in 1967 because they're doing different things now.